Hey everybody, this is Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc. And the big day is finally here. It's time to reveal all of the details of this year's big holiday kit. The kit this year is called All Through the House, and it's based on a simple matchbox, but then we take that simple matchbox and transform it into all sorts of things. Gift card holders, ornaments, wraps, treat boxes, all sorts of options with this kit. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to take that simple matchbox and turn it into an adorable lighted shadow box ornament. Okay, so let's get started. I have already die cut the matchbox base from white cardstock, and if you need a little more detail on the actual assembly of the matchbox, you can watch my other All Through the House video where I show in detail how to assemble the matchbox. But I already have it ready to go here. I already set some of the eyelets from the trimmings kit and created a little ornament hanger, so that's all set to go. The one thing I do want to show you is how I'm going to make the light in the shadow box. There are these small LED lights included in the trimmings kit. You will receive 4 of them in the trimmings kit, and I believe they're also going to be sold individually on the Papertrey website as well if you'd like to purchase additional lights. They are sized perfectly to fit inside the lip of the shadow box. Now, in order for the light to shine, I have die cut some little holes that are the perfect size for the little bulb in the light to shine through. And to do that, I used this small die, which is included in the kit. It's actually a topper for the little present die that's in the kit. It's like a little bow topper, but it works perfectly for this as well. And to do that, there are a few different ways you can put your light inside of your shadow box. You can either enclose it in this lip of the box. It will fit right inside of there. It's kind of a tight fit, but it will fit, and so that it is hidden in there for a nice finished look. The drawback to that is that you will not be able to replace the light. If it burns out and you would like to replace it, once it's enclosed in there and your whole shadow box is finished, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get that light out of there to replace. So the other option is you can put it on the underside of the shadow box. The drawback to that is that it will be visible on your project, but really kind of just on the underneath side, and the frame that goes over the top once you're finished really does hide it. So, you know, it's up to you. You'll just need to decide, personal preference, if you want that hidden inside that lip and you don't care if you can't replace it once it burns out, or you'll have to decide if you want to put it on the underside. Now for the video today, I'm going to show you how to put it on the underside. That's how I did all of my little shadow boxes, just because I liked the thought that I could replace that little light if I wanted to down the road. Okay, so I took this little circle star shaped die from the kit, and I ran it through with my matchbox base. What I did is I actually just folded this over and placed that on top of there and cut through both layers together. Takes a couple passes through the machine, but it does work pretty well. So you can do that. If you are nesting that light inside of that lip, you're only going to have to cut through this layer. You won't need to cut through both if you're going to nest that inside of there. So it's up to you, however you want to do that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start assembling my shadow box. I have score tape on here already, and like I said, if you need more help on the general assembly of the box, you can check out my other video. It's the All Through the House matchbox assembly video. fold those flaps in. Okay, and we're all set to start building our shadow box. There are tons of different scenes that you can build in the shadow box using the elements from the kit. There are inside scenes, outside scenes, fireplace, Christmas tree, snowman scenes, the house itself, lots of options. Okay, so I'm going to start with a piece of pattern paper which has been die cut using the plain rectangle die from the kit, and this is pattern paper from the kit as well. It's just kind of a pretty blue sparkle. It's great for backgrounds. I've been using it like mad. And I'm going to take some pretty scalloped trim, and this is from the All Through the House Trimmings kit, which is a separate kit that includes all of the extra little embellishments and that sort of thing from the kit. The main kit includes just the stamps and dies and papers, and then the trimmings kit includes all of the little extras. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that scallop trim. It's adhesive back, so it's super easy to just adhere that, and I put it into a little arch there so it looks like it's kind of hanging like a garland. And then I'm going to just go ahead and adhere that into the background of my matchbox, and then we can go ahead and start building our scene. And one of the things I really think is fun about the matchbox is that you can add lots of dimension, and so I want my scene to really kind of pop out and come forward. And actually I'm going to start by attaching the fire, but before I do that I need to attach my light. So I'm going to take my little light. These have a switch that has a fast flashing, a slow flashing, or a solid, a steady light. And there's a little switch so you can turn it on and off. And the light itself is a fairly cool toned light. And for my project, I kind of want to warm it up a little bit, and I want to give it more of a fire glow. Since I'm going to be putting a fireplace scene in my matchbox, I just want a real warm, kind of a warm glow. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically covering the whole surface of this little light with some score tape. And then I'm going to take some clear transparency, and this is from the Papertrey website as well. They sell it in 3 different colors: green, red, and orange. And I'm going to take a little piece of the orange and just cover that lens so that my light takes on a much warmer glow. So you can see here now it has kind of that warm candlelight glow. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the bottom of my box, making sure that my lens is centered in that little cutout. Just press that there to make sure that I've got the score tape sticking really well. Okay, and then we can go ahead, and I have a little fire here. This was die cut and stamped using the stamps and dies from the kit. I die cut it from vellum and stamped the fire, and then I also die cut it from white cardstock and stamped the logs, and then I just trimmed off the log portion and added it over top of the vellum. That's going to kind of make my fire look like it's glowing. And then what I did is I just added a little tab of cardstock to the bottom, kind of like how we've done the petite places. If you've used any of those, they have little cardstock tabs built in. These do not have the tabs built in, but you can just add it on your own. I just have a strip of cardstock here, and I've just been using little pieces just folded into an L shape so that you can adhere one end to the back side of your die cut and the other end to the base of your shadow box. Okay, so I'm going to adhere that little fire right over the top of our little light there. It's hard to see now because my lighting here is really bright, but it's going to have a cute little glow to it when the lights are dim. Christmas Eve and that sort of thing, right by the tree. I love to have things that glow and sparkle. Okay, so now I'm going to add my fireplace, and I've done the same thing. I die cut it and stamped it from using the dies and stamps in the kit, and then I just added a couple of cardstock tabs to the back, to the bottom, so that I can just kind of go ahead and adhere that. And I can fold that down if I need to get my finger in there to press that down. And then I can just kind of fold it back up once I have it secured in there and positioned where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to add a wreath to the top above the fireplace, and there are 3 of these little wreaths included in the trimmings kit, and I also added a die cut and stamped wreath over the top, and I'm going to actually use a little bit of hot glue to adhere that. Works a little better with that the wreath kind of wiry surface. It's just easier than waiting for my liquid glue to dry. I'm going to put that right over the top. Let that cool a little bit. There is also some fake snow included in the kit. This little bit goes a long way with this, and I'm going to just put a little bit of hot glue down in the bottom. I know it's an inside scene, but I don't know. I think all Christmas scenes need a little bit of snow. But that might just be my North Dakota roots coming through. And I'm going to put a little more on the other side as well. One other thing to keep in mind as you're building your scene is just be mindful of where the switch is for the little light. You don't want to put anything in the way that would inhibit you from being able to turn it on and off. It's not quite as big of a problem if you have it mounted underneath, but if you nest it inside, that button might be a little bit harder to find and might be a little more difficult to push if you're not keeping in mind that you're leaving that area free so that your finger can get in there. Alright, but we're good to go. I am also going to take, this is a little mouse from the kit, little wooden mouse, and I'm going to add him to the scene. And I figured all through the house, we couldn't have a kit called all through the house without having at least a couple of little mice, right? So I'm going to just glue him right down in here too. Okay, so our scene is pretty well finished. All we need to do yet is add the frame to the top. Just adds that finishing touch. Now to do this, we're going to use a method very similar to how we add the clear domes to the backing. If you have used any of the domes, like for the petite places or for last year's holiday kit, we did this too. I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive on a piece of acetate, and then I'm just going to run the edges of my shadow box right along in through that glue to just get that adhesive on that outer edge. Oh. And then I can go ahead and add my frame. And you can just use your fingers to kind of feel the edges of that frame to make sure that you have it pretty well centered. Get a little bit of glue on my mouse. Clean him off a little bit. He'll be okay. Alright, so that finishes off our shadow box. These are really fun to play around with, and all the different elements that are included in the All Through the House trimmings kit. They're perfect for this sort of project. So I hope you enjoyed this little peek into the All Through the House Make It Mark It kit, and that kit will be available for purchase from Papertrey Inc. beginning tomorrow, October 1st at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching. This has been Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc.